Welcome to Knowledge Update channel. Recently, the Pricewaterhouse, one of the big four accounting firm, has resigned from Reliance Capital and Reliance Home Finance. Ministry of Corporate Affairs has recommended for 5 years ban on Deloitte and KPMG arm. And Reserve Bank of India has banned SR Batley Associate LLP for 1 year from audit of commercial banks. This is the changes happening in the audit profession. This video aims to provide the information on this area, additionally on IL&FS case. Disclaimer: the information contained in this video have been collected from the various sources available in the public domain. The sole purpose of this video is for information and learning only. Now, let us look at the changes by way of the resignation of auditors in this area. Resignation by auditors. Pricewaterhouse and Company, one of the big four accounting firm, has resigned from Reliance Capital and Reliance Home Finance Limited. If you look at the content or reason why they have resigned, it was mentioned in the resignation letter that some information which has a very material for the true and fair financial statements were not provided. Also, they requested for audit committee meeting. However, till the end of 45 days from the official letter, the audit committee meeting was not called for. Hence, the PWC has resigned. Now, just look at the resignation so far. So far, 14 firms has resigned in year 2019. Now, let us look at the same data for last year in 2018. From January to July 2018, 204 listed companies has faced the resignation from auditors. Now, let us look at the few main companies where the resignation was different than pre-occupation. First, Vakangi Limited. In that case, the auditors have cited that the lack of information or records regarding to jewelry or bullions. With respect to Atlanta Limited, the auditors said that the information on ongoing litigation on taxation was not provided to the satisfaction of the auditors. If you look at the Manpasand Beverages Limited, the Deloitte said that the lack of documents for cost, revenue and capital expenditure has led to resignation of auditors. However, in case of Infibib Limited they have removed the auditor on the sake of saying that the auditors has leaked price sensitive informations. Now, this is the changes happening in this audit area. Let us look at what will happen, the impact with respect to the audit firm, impact with respect to the company, because once the auditor resigns, the prices of these companies has been witnessed to reduce by 20%. So these are the very important things for the purpose of the company and also auditors. Let us look at IL&FS case. Ministry of Corporate Affairs has given authority to Serious Fraud Investigation Office SFIO to investigate in the affairs of IL&FS. IL&FS has subsidiary wholly owned, which is IFIN, that is IL&FS Financial Services. SFIO has done for the first time investigation into affairs of IFIN, and the first charge sheet by SFIO has been just released, wherein they have charged against 30 individuals and entities. Now let us look at what these charge sheets talk about. There are mainly two serious irregularities noticed by SFIO. First one was evergreening of loans. ये modus operandi क्या है? इसमें what happens that the loans which has been sanctioned by IFIN, in case if the borrowers are unable to repay the loan, so instead of treating the loan as NPA and stop recognition of interest, these loans has been restructured or another loans have been sanctioned to that particular companies or group companies. Now, with the use of these new loans, the defaulting borrowers have repaid the money. Now, what is happening in that case के लोन की अमाउंट बढ़ती जाती है, एनपीए डिक्लेयर नहीं हो रहा है, interest is being continued recognized, and however the borrower doesn't have capability to repay the loan. Now, this has been repeated multiple times and it has resulted into the ballooning of the NPA in the books of accounts of IL&FS. Second very important thing is about the transition of the group company. IFIN is the NBFC registered company. With respect to the RBI norms, IFIN cannot advance or give loan more than 10% to the group companies. However, IL&FS and the subsidiaries require the huge funds. To circumvent this kind of requirement, what is done here is that with the use of the other subsidiaries like ITN and the vendors and contractors, the loans have been sanctioned through these routes to bypass the requirements of RBI. The 10% was a limit. However, when you look at the amount of loan and outstanding balance has been increased to 35% on March 2018. Now these loans have been done with the objective of to circumvent the requirement of RBI, and ultimately this loan may not be repayable. Plus, securities has not been properly taken, valuation is not adequate. So there are a lot of charges which are having there as a part of the charge sheet filed by SFIO. Now there are various charges as narrated under charge sheet, which includes charges under Companies Act 2013 and also Indian Penal Code. The charges are very serious in nature. Even the movable, immovable properties of the person concerned have been attached here. So look at the charges, which includes the heavy, huge fine plus imprisonment is there. So let us look at how this case is going to go far. After IFIN, various other subsidiary companies are also going to be nabbed under the investigation of SFIO. Let us look at the recent actions taken or proposed to be taken by regulators. Satyam case, one of the most sought accounting scandal in the history of India. In that case, Pricewaterhouse of the company has been banned by SEBI for 2 years in the audit of listed entities. With respect to the Reserve Bank of India, recently they have banned SR Battleborn LLP from audit of commercial banks. And in the case of IL&FS, what is done is that Ministry of Corporate Affairs has recommended to NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, for banning of Deloitte and KPMG arm for 5 years. Look at how it's going to change the whole profession. There are how many companies have been audited by the Big Four accounting firm. The complete change in the profession is now expected with these regulators becoming even more strict over the auditors. What can happen to audit profession now? As per the recent article published in Economic Times, if the proposed ban on the Deloitte and KPMG arm continues, then there will be a huge change in the auditor's rotation. As per the data provided, around 350 companies has either the Deloitte or KPMG arm as an auditor, and there will be more than 300 companies which are unlisted are audited by the Deloitte or KPMG. Now what will happen? What is the future scenario if this continues? I think there are few things which one has to really dwell upon. One thing, the auditor's appointment, whether it should be appointed by some separate regulatory agency like in Reserve Bank of India appoints for banks. Can it be possible where the auditors of listed company be appointed by independent committee and there is no say of the corporates in that? Is it possible? That is one question. Second thing is that if you look at the risky clients if the audit firm is having, now this is the time for them to make a decision whether to continue or whether to remove or resign from these cases. We can foresee a lot of changes happening in the coming auditing reports. Plus, it is possible that it may throw up the opportunities for the larger or very large size CA firm which may not be the Big Four. However, I always feel that as an audit profession, one has to be united to see that whether these impacts are really against the auditors, then one has to really focus on the points that the small firms can come together and then they can form the large size firm. And I think what is needed is that there can be the requirement that if you are the auditor of a listed company or where the public money or the bank's money has been financed very heavily, in that case, The auditor shall be banned for providing a non-audit service fees. Now, these are the few things which can happen in the auditing professions. We all need to wait and watch what can come next. Please share your views on the recent changes happening in these audit professions. What do you believe about this IL&FS case? What do you believe about the role of the auditors? Which are the actions taken by regulators are justified or not? What audit profession shall do it? Please be vocal. I am looking for your comments, looking for your suggestions so that we can decide the future course of actions. If you like this video, if you like this initiative, please share to your friends, like this video and subscribe to these channels. Thank you so much. Stay connected.